Hello and good morning to you all. This is Cliff Graves from Trainwell Boxing. I hope all you lot are well. Thank you for tuning in. What a controversial subject we are talking about today. Should you take somebody down to the ground, an attacker down to the ground, during a self-defense situation? Question mark. Oh boy, what a question that is. It's such an open-ended question. It almost defies logic because it depends. It depends. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a few examples, right? And then we're going to discuss how we see it. So let's take the worst of the worst first. Let's take an attack. And I'm sorry to say this to my lovely female colleagues, but it does seem to be that most of the sexual attacks, very sadly, will be a male to a female. And it pains me to have to say that. I found that very difficult to say, but well, that's the dog coming down and up, checking what I'm doing. It really pains me to say that, and it is quite difficult to discuss it. But statistically, sadly, unfortunately, regrettably, it is that way. If we look at Belfield, if we look at the railway murderers, Duffy and Maholheim, or whatever his name was, if we look at Peter Sutcliffe, if we look at this Steve Wright, you remember him from Ipswich, based out that way. Statistically, it has been male attacks on females. So we got that one out of the way, and I really apologise. I'm saddened to have to say that, but sadly, that's what it is. So let's park that. We've got that one out of the way. I said it. More than likely, there will be a weight disparity. If we take Belfield and the young females that he attacked and murdered, there was a definitive weight disparity. And we're talking about one, and I'm not going to mention the name because I used to live in that area, and I know that area where she was attacked on Twickenham Green very, very well known. I know it. And it shakes me to the core. It shakes me to the core. But she was 5'4" lass. Petite, so you know she would have been between 8 and 9 stone. Belfield was a doorman, 6'3" at one stage of the game, 21 stone. He used to do all this bit bodybuilding and take all the anabolic steroids and all sorts. So I just want you to think of that. weight disparity, 8 stone against 21 stone. An aggressive male on the juice, jumping out and attacking a female of 5'4". Let's be just sensible rather than trying to be provocative. Let's just be sensible. Let's just be sensible, shall we? An adult. Can you tell me it is better for that female to take that male down onto the ground, as I have seen in some purported self-defense combat systems? Do you? Because if you do, I would suggest that you are an idiot. You are an idiot. You are an imbecile. 21 stone against 8 stone. In a situation like that, which they are rare, we don't hear about them that often, but when we do, it shakes decent members of the public like you and I to the core. You're on a bit of a slippery wicket, aren't you? Really and truly, whether you're on two feet standing or whether you're on the ground. One example of where purposefully the intention to take to the ground, like they do in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, taking to the ground, as opposed to attempting a swift kick in the groin and then running for your life, screaming out with everything you've got. And on Twickenham Green, there would have been a lot of people by the pub, a certain pub, and in some cases in the summertime would have been sitting outside. You cause a distraction through voice, but in that situation, you really are on a slippery wicket, and the only way you can avoid that is avoidance, not be there. But if it turns out that you are, then you must use situational awareness. You must, I say to my wife, you must tell me. She went on a course and she went out on a train, not when we lived in this area, but she went out on the train, and I said, ring me when you get on the carriage. Okay, how many people on the carriage? She said about half a dozen. I said, stay in that carriage. Just stay in that carriage. When you coming in to the station where you should be getting off, ring me. And I will come up, I will park the car, because it was about, say, 15 minutes between the last station prior to where she'd be getting off and me driving out in the car to come and pick her up. Stay exactly where you are. If all those other people have got off at the other thing, make your way to near where the guard lives on the train and plonk yourself there. Ring me so that when that train comes trundling in, guess who's going to be standing, not waiting in the car outside the platform. Guess who's going to be standing on the platform? Yours truly. So whereabouts are you? Oh, right. So you're going to be coming in about halfway down the platform. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I hope I'm making myself clear here. You use situational awareness. You use pre-planning to stop the threat, to stop the risk, to lessen the risk. But this taking to the ground, which I've seen so much of in one particular combat method, DM me. I'll put the link below where you can DM me and I'll tell you which one it is. And then you go and look on YouTube and you'll see exactly what's going on. And you'll see that I'm not lying. I'm not fabricating. I'm not making anything up. I haven't named anybody, have I? I haven't named anybody. But you will see. It's complete stupidity. It really is complete stupidity. So we dealt with that one. The second one is you cannot say to a 21-year-old lad that wants to go out and have fun, and I was like that when I was 21, and I can tell you, don't go to that pub, don't go to that nightclub, don't drink and unwind and have fun, don't. Come in here, let me closet you, because you'll be doing more harm than good. You can only hope that where they go, him and his friends, that they go to a place which it isn't going to kick off. But invariably, the lively places will have door staff. They have to now. They might well search, I don't know, but I mean, look, it can kick off, and I've witnessed that in my youth on a number of occasions in different venues, and it just goes like a massive western all over. It just erupts all over the place, bodies flying everywhere. And in some, because I know London, and I also was a drayman. That's a drayman, means you deliver to all the different pubs. I visited many pubs, and there was one particular pub in Shepherd's Bush, the Shepherd's Bush area, which was a corner pub. It was a corner pub, and it was on a busy road, off a busy road, frequented a lot by black taxi cabs, frequented a lot by double-decker buses. It kicked off. Thankfully, I was nothing to do with it, or neither were the people I was doing with it, but we saw the peripheral of it. The whole pub turned out. The whole pub got turfed out. It was a pub, disco pub, right? The whole pub got turfed out, and it's kicking off, and people have boots and heads and all sorts are going in. One kid went down on the floor, and then the boots started going in all over the place. He went down on the floor. I don't know whether he slipped or he got punched, but he was down on the floor. Next thing is inviting. Next thing, you see him on the floor. So not only has he got to contend with all that busy traffic, which was stopping, but some people, like he was getting like a double-decker bus stopped, and he was getting people driving around a double-decker bus right into line where all this crowd were fighting. Do you think it's wise to go to the ground, intentionally take that person to the ground? Do you think that is wise? Because if you do, I'm sorry, you're an imbecile, and your street IQ for self-defense is 0, and you shouldn't be teaching. You should give it up. Go and I don't know, go and do amateur dramatics somewhere, because you're not got the mentality to teach self-defense. So that's all against it, right? Going to the ground, which I think I've got quite a compelling case to not intentionally, that is the key word here, intentionally take somebody to the ground in situations like I've just described. Now let's look about the merits of taking somebody to the ground. So if you're a police officer, you want to make an arrest, you want to get the handcuffs on, idealistically, your colleagues should be there to help you. Or you should have a colleague there to help you, idealistically. If you're a doorman, idealistically, you want to restrain until the police come along. If you're a hospital security personnel, idealistically, you want to restrain until the police come along. You know, in them situations, taking to the ground to restrain and hold and handcuff by police officers is the right thing to do, isn't it? Is the right thing to do. If it's a one-on-one situation where I do think the probability of another male, could be a female, look at Dennehy driving around, Johan Dennehy, remember? Driving around, stopping, getting out of the car and stabbing up males, innocent males walking along. There is a case for taking somebody to the ground. But I think unless you're laced up with gold, expensive clothing on, and it's gone 12 o'clock at night, I do think it highly unlikely a male, solo male on his own, is going to attempt to attack somebody like myself. They're going to think, fuck that, there's easier prey. Now, if it was more than one, which I've had before, and I've had to run away, and good job I did run away, but there was about 4 of them, it's a different matter, isn't it? But in that situation where there's one-on-one, taking to the ground is, if you're trained to take to the ground, is going to be advantageous for you. And that's the case for taking to the ground. So as combatives, self-defense exponents, should we not train taking to the ground or train fighting on the ground? By no means no. Of course we must have that within our arsenal. Otherwise you get taken to the ground and you're like a baby. You don't know what to do. By no means. Yes. However, when we look at the big, holistic, whole picture of it all, taking to the ground is a treacherous, risque thing to do. if you don't have to take to the ground and you can finish with a flash straight into the throat, like grab to the throat, boot up, like headbutt, kick in the groin, that's it. Yes, you've used violence to the extreme, but only in extreme cases. Really, really nasty violence, but that gets you back home safely. Somebody's jumped out on you that's got a knife. Run away if you can, isn't it? Don't stand there going, oh, all right, and then waiting for the attack to come, because you don't know how good they are, how experienced they are with a knife, do you? But I digress. We're talking about taking to the ground. In summarizing in one sentence and finishing up, I would say train taking to the ground in your combative self-defense fighting system. Yes, train it. But do not look for that as the primary option of self-defense when there is other ways that can get you out of trouble and off to safety. Okay, thanks for listening. Speak to you again soon. Ciao.